What's going on, guys? TG or Thunder God here, and today I'm going to be talking about Naruto vs Sasuke, specifically in hand-to-hand combat only. I'm going to be taking a look at the two and their techniques throughout the series, along with other abilities they have and how that directly impacts their hand-to-hand capabilities. And just overall coming to the conclusion on who's the better hand-to-hand combatant throughout the entirety of the series. With that being said, let's get straight into the video.
What's going on? What are you? I'm your friend!
So starting off with part 1, it's pretty clear that Sasuke starts the series off with a pretty distinct edge over Naruto in this category, which shouldn't be too surprising as he's at the top of his class at this point, and Naruto during the time of early part 1 clearly has little to no finesse with this hand-to-hand, opting to overwhelm his opponents via shadow clones. Compare this to Sasuke, who at the very least can force Kakashi to not read and actually graze the bells while throwing hands with Kakashi, compared to Naruto, who is just angrily swinging at Kakashi, further demonstrated by Sasuke's ability to adequately deal with hidden miss tuning sense after Tazuna. Again, I do want to note that Sasuke does utilize a kunai in this encounter and is generally a little stronger than Naruto at this point, so it's not a complete one-to-one, but Sasuke clearly just is more impressive when it comes to hand-to-hand combat. The only example you can maybe use to put Naruto over is Naruto just like tying Sasuke up while Sasuke's eating, but Naruto notes that Sasuke only has an opening really when he's eating and just uses a rope to like chokehold Sasuke through a window, so it doesn't really work. It doesn't really work too much. Now, while Naruto does gain experience in this area through his continued bouts, Sasuke actually does begin to lap Naruto a bit further through the use of his Sharingan, specifically the kinetic vision it offers to allow Sasuke to read movement better. This makes Sasuke far more versatile in this category and amplifies Sasuke's hand-to-hand capabilities by a pretty substantial margin. Granted, Sasuke's limits are pretty clear as he just gets neutered by Lee along with Naruto, but he does perform better than Naruto in this regard. He can also throw down with Orochimaru if you're looking at the anime. This fight has no hand-to-hand in the manga, but I'm going to mention the anime a little bit in this video. So if you do kind of look at that as well, he just blatantly performs better than Naruto in this regard. And yes, this is suppressed Orochimaru, but it still is, you know, a hand-to-hand fight, so I do think it is worth bringing up. So although Sasuke does begin to outclass Naruto a bit as he goes from not necessarily being carried by the Sharingan, but more so having an understanding for its weaknesses, especially when it comes to superior taijutsu, Sasuke would go on to mirror Lee and copy his movements in the exams, and even proceed to put his own spin on it in the form of the Lion's Barrage, a combo where Sasuke takes advantage of said opponent's counterattack to spin around and rise again for further assaults. Since the fall is increased in velocity with each blow, the damage when one is eventually struck to the ground is inconceivable. Now, this should just be outright superior to Naruto's Uzumaki combo, and I'm going to explain that in a second, but Naruto does kind of match Sasuke's Lion's Barrage with the Uzumaki combo, a technique performed in 5 with the help of shadow clones. 4 of them kick up the enemy following the rhythm of the cry, Uzumaki. Finally, the 5th one somersaults and hits the opponent with the heel. The name of the blow is plagiarized from the Lion combo from Sasuke, but the technique itself is from Naruto, and it combines ninjutsu and taijutsu. So essentially, Naruto just learns to combo better with his clones, but it doesn't really change too much for him as an individual, you know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't a combo he can perform by himself, and it doesn't really get better for Naruto during part 1 as Sasuke would go on to train his body to be able to achieve the same speed as Lee, as well as outright mimic his fighting style to a degree, that being the stronger ferocious fist, a style all about beatings, bruises, and broken bones. The difference between this and just beating up whoever you come across is that the user must be very well conditioned to even use this style briefly, as it'll exhaust and strain the body, which Sasuke does directly know after performing the Lion's Barrage. This all completely becomes a non-issue after Sasuke's month of training. Sasuke doesn't follow this style to a T, but like Kakashi, Sasuke just generally borrows elements from it to enhance his overall arsenal, whereas Naruto's Uzumaki Barrage doesn't really incorporate any of that. And this becomes very evident, for example, in Sasuke's match with Gaara, where he's just beating Gaara up, slapping him around, not really too many issues there. Compare this to Naruto, who had really just learned or trained how to forcibly bring out the Kyuubi's chakra by exhausting his own supply while becoming aware of its presence entirely. While this is really good for making Naruto all around stronger to the point he could beat Neji, it didn't do too much for raising his hand-to-hand capabilities or increase the skill in what he could do. And the minute Naruto did get close to Neji and try and, like, you know, go hand-to-hand or close range with him, Neji just opts to use rotation, as Naruto's power at that point was overwhelming him along with Naruto's speed. Not too much changes for the rest of part 1, as Sasuke pretty much remains the same aside from potential strength increases, with Naruto more so going through chakra control training, and which was a big weak point for him in part 1 and learning the Rasengan. just making him all around stronger. Again, not really enhancing him in this specific category. I think the respective fights before the Final Valley and after display the gap between these two in this type of category. In the manga, Sasuke is actually able to handle and repel Naruto in close quarters, forcing Naruto to outright create more clones to overwhelm him. The anime version of this fight does actually have Naruto looking a lot better and making it much less of a stomp. Like, Sasuke just kind of bats him away in close quarters in the manga, whereas in the anime, it's still kind of a back and forth with Sasuke just having a slight edge on Naruto, and then the fight kind of proceeding, like I said, with both following kind of this same flow where Sasuke is able to momentarily or for a short period of time take down multiple clones from Naruto, with Naruto eventually hitting him with the Uzumaki Barrage. Ignoring any other arguments like Sasuke being weaker from coming out the hospital or any power gaps between the characters, I will say Sasuke just still is painted as a slight superior or just outright superior in this category. The Final Valley fight, however, is much harder to gauge since Sasuke is outright stronger than Naruto for the beginning half of the fight, so it's not fair to judge him on his merits here. But once Sasuke does awaken his 3 Tomoe, the gap between the two in terms of hand-to-hand is just way too much on top of the stuff I was mentioning previously, as Sasuke's Sharingan before had just allowed him to perceive high-speed movement better. Now Sasuke can see where the opponent is pretty much going to land off their physical movements, pretty much allowing Sasuke to set up counter strikes to wherever Naruto is going to be. This change in Sharingan was so dramatic as Sasuke was going from kind of getting dragged from QB Naruto to just being able to conserve his chakra and just rock him in terms of hand-to-hand. It's pretty clear, along with the taijutsu technique Sasuke garnered from Lee, his evolved Sharingan made him just too unstoppable in terms of close quarters, to the point that Naruto just had to power up further to contest Sasuke again. So part 1 goes pretty confidently to Sasuke in terms of close quarters, hand-to-hand, whatever you want to call it. Let's see what changes once we get into Shippuden.
How could I ever be Hokage? I can't save a friend.
Now, during early Shippuden, Sasuke is a little different as he keeps a lot of what he does in part 1 but adopts a more Kenjutsu style-like approach. Kenjutsu being the umbrella term for all schools of Japanese swordsmanship. Sasuke takes a much more swordsman-oriented approach throughout Shippuden. It doesn't mean he can't fight hand-to-hand. It doesn't mean he doesn't fight like that ever. It just means that this is his main style. Now, with that being said, Sasuke still retains all the previous feats over Naruto, whereas Naruto still hasn't shown those dominating feats of skill, techniques, or anything else. Naruto had gotten stronger over the time skip, but really only came out with better shadow clone control and techniques such as the Odama Rasengan, which really didn't give him anything over Sasuke in this category. And listen, don't blame me. Jiraiya did Naruto filthy for that time skip, I'm just saying. But essentially, Sasuke comes out a much more complete fighter at the beginning of Shippuden, and this makes it so, there's no reason to suggest Naruto would outclass him in this category. Just there's no evidence to suggest it, and Naruto's feats are really that crazy. A lot of it's just amped by shadow clones. So early Shippuden should just still go to Sasuke. Just no real reason it shouldn't. Nothing really changes. Sasuke, on top of being stronger, again, is just more of a complete fighter. Now, I know how this video looks. We're 8 minutes in, and I've been straight guzzling Sasuke's meat. Not my fault. Just is what it is. Just is what it is. But this is actually where things start to change, in my opinion, because we kind of get to that mid to late Shippuden era, and this is where things take a 180, as Naruto's arsenal becomes much more centralized around close quarters combat with Sage Mode. Naruto's hands in Sage Mode are rated M for Miyaboku. They're just insane. Let's talk about it. Naruto's Sensory, before we talk about his hand-to-hand, is just buffed to the point that the whole Sharingan, precog, being able to distinguish the opponent's movements, after, doesn't really matter as much because Naruto has his own form of threat perception, which aids him in close quarters. Naruto versus the third Raikage is probably the most blatant example of this. All of this being possible due to Naruto's use of Frog Kumite. This is a taijutsu styled mastered by those who learn Senjutsu. The user reaches the point of being able to take in nature energy, and the power of perception is expanded. With it, you can sense the movements of opponents to the point of releasing an intense counterattack that matches the enemy's attack. Furthermore, the energy becomes part of the user's body, and both the range and power of the attack rise. It's noted to be a flawless taijutsu that has no openings in either attack or in defense. An example that's noted of Naruto increasing the range of his attack is when Naruto and the Predator Path are running at each other, and Naruto just increases the range of his attack to slap the dude away. I'm talking he got hit with that greenhouse biodegradable tadpole touch. Even Pain's Rinnegan that can sense Naruto's Sage Chakra and assess how much chakra he has in a Sage Mode charge still couldn't perceive the charge and thought he dodged it. So any arguments that the Sharingan had, just toss them. Just toss him. No amount of like. If you literally took Naruto and Sasuke at these points in the series, like let's just say heavy Sasuke, Naruto's just beating him up. Like literally Sasuke would dodge Naruto's punch and then just get slapped afterwards, and he wouldn't really be able to perceive anything. So Naruto's taijutsu at this point is just beyond cracked. It's insane. The taijutsu and benefits that this form offers at close range are so ridiculous that Naruto is just able to use it against a opponent who was just previously able to tackle a faster form, that being Kyuubi Chakra mode. That's how ridiculous this form is. Now, I'm not saying Sasuke's a slouch, as he does encounter people who have unique fighting styles, such as the Raikage, who uses a wrestler, grappler-like fighting style, and at least in the anime, can contend with Kakashi in pure hand-to-hand, even while Sasuke just doesn't have his Sharingan active. It's still a prolonged bout, so Sasuke isn't a slouch in this regard. I don't think it's a matter of him just being bad or weak in this aspect, just more so Naruto's just pretty cracked. If you go further with anime content, Naruto's also just shown using Asuma's blade, Asuma being unmatched in terms of close quarters stated in the data book, and you can find examples everywhere like the filler power where Naruto beats the piss out of Four Tails Naruto, like just domination. And it's not like Naruto's Sage Mode just worsens over time. Like, he learns new abilities like the Frog Slap, which just kind of ignores durability, and Naruto can just send a pulse of chakra, so he almost has like a gentle fist like maneuver he can incorporate into his arsenal if he wants to. Whereas Sasuke's abilities with the MS and EMS, while they do give him perception boost, they're mainly like techniques, you know, Amaterasu, Kagetsuchi, Susanoo. All of these things and the hatred amps he garners do make him overall stronger, but again, he's favoring a Kenjutsu like approach, and nothing's really giving him that hand-to-hand amp, unless you argue he's just stronger than a different form of Naruto, which we're not really looking at. If you look at Kyuubi Chakra mode, I actually think this form's a little worse in hand-to-hand. Yeah, Naruto can make extendable arms, and he is used to fighting in close quarters, but just because he still has Sage mode and improved Sage mode version under his belt, he should just have an edge in this category against EMS Sasuke. Like, nothing should change, and honestly speaking, like, aside from Sasuke getting like a perception increase via his EMS, again, nothing would really be that different. And if you're questioning the Sage mode glaze, I just want to point out the fact that Naruto looked at Ten Tails Obito and was like, yeah, get ready, I'm about to use Frog Kumite. Brother, what? Huh? And we kind of get lost in the hand-to-hand stuff for a bit because Naruto and Sasuke's power-ups are pretty insane and they don't really pertain to that specific category. Yeah, they can amplify it, but nothing, you know, nothing too crazy in that regard. Like, there's examples I could use from Six Paths Naruto, like him matching Kaguya's vacuum technique, which is based on the 8 trigrams vacuum palm technique. But, like, that more so comes about due to Naruto's 6 Paths power, so I'm hesitant to just give him a slide for that. But I will say, if you do kind of want to look at the Final Valley, Naruto just, again, looks amazing. Bro is able to contend with Sasuke, who has his Sharingan and Rinnegan out while in base. And yeah, while Naruto's generally getting sauced up, he's still able to contend in hand-to-hand. I might add, this is anime only. But it also does ring true for their later bout, as Naruto's able to keep up with Sasuke, who can still utilize his Sharingan after their big class. Although Sasuke actually does have an outright slugfest with Naruto right after this, to the point that they exhaust themselves. So the gap's probably not that astronomical, but Naruto, again, should still retain a bit of edge, at least in my opinion. So early to like early mid Shippuden, Sasuke should take it, and the rest, I think Naruto just outright takes it. Now, if we get into the last and the Boruto era of Naruto, Naruto at this point is pretty demonic in what he can do. Now, if we're looking at the last, there's nothing too crazy here, as Naruto does show great taijutsu and is shown like, he's pretty much just demonstrating basic martial arts at the academy and has good performances against Toneri and Toneri's puppets. But for example, I don't want to put too much stock into Naruto just like mogging on Toneri's puppets, because there's no real reason that Sasuke with one arm wouldn't just be able to beat them up as well. I also think Sasuke would just perform well against Toneri, if not just be stronger than him. So to just give Naruto the slide, it's a little tough, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he shows great hand-to-hand, but I don't think it's fair because we don't necessarily see Sasuke. But if you step forward a little more and go into the Boruto era, we actually get a more definitive answer, as this goes pretty easily to Naruto. On top of the previous feats rolling over, Naruto has displayed much more finesse in his hand-to-hand capabilities, being able to throw down with a gentle fist user in the form of Momoshiki, while Naruto is actually just outright weaker in this Momoshiki, as he had 50% of his chakra drained and is in his base form. So Naruto's going the distance with Momoshiki, along with displaying use of martial arts such as Wing Chun in his fight. Wing Chun being a concept-based martial art, a form of Southern Chinese Kung Fu, a close-quarter system of self-defense. It is a martial arts style characterized by its focus of close-quarters hand-to-hand combat, rapid-fire punches, and straightforward efficiency. This is further cemented with Naruto just being a straight hand-to-hand goblin against opponents like Delta or Jigen, whereas Sasuke as an adult opts to favor a more Kenjutsu-like approach, similar to his teen counterpart, although his finesse has clearly skyrocketed to an insane degree, which makes sense as Sasuke has just taken on swordsmen such as Killer Bee, Mifune, along with performing better than individuals like Chojuro, who are pretty well noted with their swordsmanship, being like Chojuro, for example, being considered or rumored to be the best swordsman out of the Gokage, albeit from the movie novel, but hey, still. And Sasuke's debatably included in that statement as some, you know, either his rank is like he's considered with the Gokage as like the 6th shadow, or his rank is just unofficial. And Sasuke just approaches every fight in Boruto with the sword more often than not, whereas Naruto just gets to throwing digs. I don't want people to look at it like Sasuke's trash in that department, because he's really not. He just opts in for a different style. He just branches off into a different spectrum, and that's entirely fine. It's just he works with the sword, and like Naruto would not be able to do half the stuff Sasuke does with the sword, you know what I mean? Like it just kind of goes with that. Granted, Naruto is kind of cool with it, but still. So essentially all of part 1 in early Shippuden, Sasuke generally dominates. Mid Shippuden to Boruto era, Naruto takes the edge, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down below. Who you think is just better in hand-to-hand and why. Like and subscribe if you're new here, enjoyed the vid, or don't, can't force you. And I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.